All right. This should be going up here on YouTube, which would be super cool. All righty. Very nice, very nice. All right, I'll stop looking at myself because that's weird. Okay, let me get to this. All right, very cool. All right. I'm going to record this. All right. You guys hear me? Everything good? You guys all good out there in the land of wonderment and creatives?
Yeah,
I'm very excited to be with you guys today here on what is this? Zoom, Instagram, not Instagram, YouTube. I get them all mixed up a little bit, but I'm very excited to be with all of you today. I want to let you know, as somebody who has been the biggest proponent of Rotolight for the last decade, I always want to have my ear available to your mouths. I always want to hear what you have to say about the stuff that comes out from Rotolight, especially since we just wrapped up a master lighting tour, not just 3 or 4 months ago. The new lights, the AOS 2 and the Neo 3 that were announced a year ago, and honestly got to you guys, got to the users, using, starting in February and then some through May. So I always want to make myself available to all of you to hear your feedback and give you my unfiltered opinion on everything, and to help you succeed. So as we go through this, please make sure to ask whatever questions that you have. Feel free to unmute yourself. I believe, let me see here. I believe that I have given the ability, let me see. Yeah, you guys can't unmute yourself. So what we're going to do is I'm going to go through this presentation, and after I go through the presentation, which isn't going to be very, very long, I don't like to talk to people a lot. I like to talk with. So I'm going to go through and do this presentation real quick, give you some feedback. We also have a very exciting announcement for existing Rotolight users that I'm going to get to in just a bit. So this is not just about the new Pro line. And just to keep it real with you guys, my job on this campaign is to produce content. I'm not getting a commission on this campaign, and I only mention that because I am very committed to making sure that you guys get what you need. I love the people at Rotolight. They're producing some great stuff. And so as we're getting this feedback from all of you, what I'm doing is producing videos to help you understand how to use these products together, how to get the most out of your current investment and potentially your future one as well. So again, my big thing is to try and help you guys, videos to help you understand, help you as much as I can, and then go from there. So I've just turned off my YouTube, so hopefully that all right, guys, so let's have everybody go on mute when you're ready. All right, I don't hear any talking now, so that's good. So it looks as if we're in good shape. So yeah, again, please just keep, I'm just going to start over. Please just keep your questions until the end. At that point, I'll be more than happy to answer any of your questions. As I previously stated, I'm really here to help you, all of you out there in Rotolight land. Again, somebody who's been using the Rotolight, and pushing Rotolight and its technology longer than anybody. I am very committed to working with them. I do love the Rotolight team, but more than anything, I wouldn't be here without you guys, and neither would Rotolight. And so we understand that commitment. We want to make sure that we do everything on our end to help you be successful and to be happy. I want you to be happy because one of the biggest things that can happen when a new product comes out is people are like, what about my existing products, the stuff I've just bought? So at any rate, we're going to get to that. I'm going to share my screen with all of you, and we're going to go from there. So this is about going pro with Rotolight. Rotolight's just announced these lights. I am very excited about these lights. They do provide some innovation and some technologies honestly no other lighting system offers. And I'm very excited to be able to talk about these and more importantly, answer your questions. those of you on that are watching this, you've honestly already seen the launch videos. I'm not here to redo the launch video to say, as much as I'm here to help you with your questions and help you understand where we're going with all of these things. As you know, the thing that excited me the most was the compatibility of these lights with Godox and others. I think Pixapro, ProPhoto, Newer, but let's be real. I mean, the vast majority of us in the marketplace who do use traditional flash, we use Godox. So, I mean, everything that I'm going to say about Godox applies to all of the others. So I just want to make sure that that's very clear. But at the same time, you know, let's, again, I don't have a pure stat on this, but I'd say that probably 80 to 85% of the marketplace who use traditional flash would have, they use Godox. And so because of that, this was a big push for us. I've been talking to Rotolight for a long time. You can ask Rod. I've been talking to him for a long time about Godox and compatibility, and to be able to merge and marry these systems together. And I'll be honest with you, that's a big ask. It's a big ask to do that, because you're asking someone to actually be, you know, friendly in a sense with the competitor from a compatibility standpoint. And where I really got the idea for this, to be honest, was when I transferred my work over to Sony. And at the time, Sony mirrorless had so few lenses. The fact that there were adapters that enabled us to use Canon lenses with the Sony bodies was fantastic. And so there is compatibility. I want to make sure I answer all of the questions out there about this compatibility, and also about what the existing users can do. So let me explain this a little bit. There we go. For existing users, in case anybody doesn't remember, and if you do, that's fantastic, but on the back of all of your Rotolights, not all of them, but all of the newer ones, pretty much 2017 and newer, you'll see a PC sync port. And I just did a video on this yesterday. You can take a receiver, and I went to the local camera store here and bought a receiver for $45, guys, a Godox receiver. If you put a PC sync cable, and actually comes with the receiver of Godox, and put it into the back of your existing AOS 2 or Neo 3, you can fire your existing AOS 2 or Neo 3, or even Neo 2, or Titan, or Nova Pro. You can fire those with your Rotolight, and you can fire those when you use a Godox transmitter, because that signal from the transmitter goes right to the receiver and strobes the light. So I did a video on this. The picture you're looking at now is a picture of the Godox as my key light. On the ground is an AOS 2 Pro, and on the blue light that's casting the light above on the door is a Neo 3, not the Neo 3 Pro, but a Neo 3 original. So I just recorded a video yesterday showing you how to merge all of these three systems together, because I want to make sure that existing Rotolight users feel that they're valued, and that, you know, we have your best interests at heart as well. Along those lines, I need you to understand this. What Rotolight did was more than just a firmware update. They actually put those receivers physically into the new lights. So the new Pro version line of lights actually has a receiver, a physical receiver from ProPhoto, Newer, Pixapro, and Godox inside of the light. And so that's what enables it to do that. So this is more than just a firmware update. And it's important that everybody out there understands that. Hey guys, mute yourselves, guys.
You tell me I want right. Go on then, mate. Go on. I think
we can't have nice things. All right. I'll have to mute everybody. Here we go. Now I've muted everybody, but please, guys, keep it good. All right. So now, as it relates to, I'm trying to get the mute thing off. There we go. All right, guys, please mute yourselves. This is a very easy thing to do. Please mute yourselves. All right. So as it relates to the new announcement, the new announcement from Rotolight is very cool. And what it is this. If you buy a Pro Version Light, and this is discussions that we've had, I reached out to Rod and spoke to him about this, and I said, look, I don't want the existing the people who purchased these lights to feel like, you know, their gear is obsolete. And so if you buy a Pro Version Light, what Rotolight has done is since over the last couple of days since announcing this, what they've done is they've gone and worked with the engineering team. And I know what you guys are thinking, like, how do they do this so fast? Well, they listen and they listen to my feedback and they listen to your feedback and they read the comments. I know Rod reads the comments and they look at what you guys are saying out there and ladies, and they do their best to respond to it, which I really appreciate. So what they're doing now is if you buy a Pro Version Light, because the receiver is built inside of these Pro Version Lights, in all of the pre-existing lights like the EOS 2, the Neo 3, there's Elechrome chips or receivers built inside of those lights. Well, through some freaking magic, they're now making these talk. So if you use like a Godox transmitter and you fire your light or Pro Photo and you fire an EOS 2 Pro, it will act as a master and it will slave your other lights, like anything 2017 or newer on your Rotolight system. So a Neo 2, Neo 3, EOS 2, EOS 1, a Nova Pro, Titan. I mean, you can really kind of go haywire. I have some friends, Steve, other people who have a ton of lights. They almost have more than I do. And for people like that who just want all of your system to talk and strobe, and you still want to be able to use Godox, that's now possible. And I'm going to be doing a video on that next week to show all of that to you. Also, one thing to understand, my friends, is please understand this. When you're strobing with a Godox or Pro Photo or other transmitter, please understand that you are not able to change the flash output or the power settings on your lights. So if you're still only able to do that with an Elechrome transmitter. So, you know, like when you're playing with the Godox, you know, you're going to strobe that. It's just going to strobe it. It's not going to change your power. So just understand that as well. But when I use Rotolights, I always strobe them at full power anyway, so it really doesn't matter, to be honest. But that's how it works. So it's a receiver built inside, and that's what enables them to be able to now introduce this slave mode on the other lights, which I think will be really cool. Some people have no. I love it when it counts. The other thing that let me do this. I'm just going to have to mute everyone and be really clear about it. Okay, there we go. I will not allow participants to unmute themselves. There we go. All right, Daddy had to step then. All right, so now we will go back to the regularly scheduled programming. All right, so now the other thing that Rotolight has announced is the master presets. Presets are really cool. I'm a big fan of efficiency, as many of you may know, and because of that, it actually makes me very happy to be able to use some of these presets. And the reason for that is, especially if you're a newer photographer, some of the presets or some of the options are almost too much. When you have, 16 million colors and gels and filters, and where do you go? What do you do? And as an example, like the light you see behind me, this blue, this like baby blue, I love this coming out of the Rotolight. So this is something that you'll see in my master preset list. It's the baby blue that I use in the picture that you're looking at right now. I love these kinds of things to be able to bring people together. And so these presets enable you to get to your work faster. I love the fact that they have built-in presets, tungsten and daylight and 4600 Kelvin, all of these together, so you can quickly get on scene and you're like, you know what, this is what I love, boom, you hit the preset and you go. I think this is also a great way for people to be able to understand what they like, because again, if you're a newer photographer and if you're newer to lighting, it really is overwhelming. And so having a great starting point and then building on that is I think what all of us do when we're learning photography. We have to have some place where we're grounded, where we can start as our base, and then we grow from there. And so I think that this will be something that people can really gravitate to. And I also think that it will help photographers to build their own presets, which ultimately is really what you want to do, right? Like, it's really cool to see what a master of light, someone like me or some of the other guys out there, and ladies and directors of photography and all these really talented people. It's great to see what we use, but ultimately you want to find what works best for you. Find a record that works for you, find a preset that works for you. And so because of that, I think that when you have some really nice starting points from all of us out there who have been doing this for a while, it also gives you a great understanding as to where you want to head with your own work. And I think ultimately that's where all of us want to be. So I'm excited about that, and I hope you guys are too. Something that I really like is more durable handles and knobs on the new Pro version of lights. It goes without saying, if you guys have followed me for any extent of time, it goes without saying that, I'm pretty hard on gear. And so because of that, it's very important that we're able to have gear that actually will stand up to, the rigors of what we do. So I can tell you from having used them, here's the Pro right here. The knobs really are nice. I mean, I know it sounds like you're like, they're just knobs, but you know what? They really are nice, and they feel a lot more durable. They look a lot better, I'm not gonna lie. And I really do like the red. I like the red handles. I like the red knobs. They really are a welcome addition. And I think in a pro level line of gear, I think that's definitely appropriate. I think if they came out with a pro version line of gear that didn't have this, I think that it wouldn't be the right way to go. So I'm very excited about that as well. It's something that's important. It's not the end all, but it is important, and I think that it's good. And it just gives a finer look. Even especially on the Neo 3 and on the EOS 2 as well, but it gives it a more refined look, and especially when you're out there shooting, it makes you proud of the gear that you're using. And we all know that's important to us as photographers. Increased power. One thing that I want to help people understand is how the increased power works with the lights. There isn't any increased power from a flash perspective. So again, this is something that if you're an existing EOS 2 or Neo 3 user, the Pro version lights are not providing any more light as a flash option. As a continuous option, and yes, little old me, I went out and bought a light meter, believe it or not. And I've been playing with the lights in certain color temperatures. There is an increased power output at 4600 Kelvin. That's where the maximum output is on these lights. And so when you're using the light from a continuous standpoint at 4600 Kelvin, it's going to push a little bit more light out. And I want to make sure that I'm clear on that. I want to make sure everybody understands. So that's only going to be in continuous mode. Now, there are 3 different color temperatures. I think it's 3200, 4600, and 5600, I believe, is the other one. I could be off on that last one, but maybe 5800. But regardless, there are 3 specific color temperatures where you're getting a brighter output in continuous mode. The brightest is at that 4600 Kelvin. That's where you're going to get that 20 to 25% more additional power. At the other temperatures that I mentioned, it's maybe 9–10%. So if you plan on using Rotolights as a flash option, just understand that you're going to get out of the Pro line what you're getting out of the current line. And I say that not to speak ill of the Pro line at all. I say that because, again, if you just went and bought a bunch of Rotolights, your money's not wasted. And I want to make sure everybody understands that. I think, in my opinion, where the Pro lineup of lights really comes into play is for people who have been waiting to see if Rotolight's a good option for them. I have a lot of friends one of them's on here, Randy. He's a Pro Photo guy, and he's been talking to me on and off about Rotolight and switching over from Pro Photo for a long time. But it's hard when you're like, how do I strobe them? How do I do this? How do I do that? That's why I think if you are somebody who's moving over or migrating over to the Rotolight system, that's where the Pro lineup really makes sense from a Rotolight perspective. Rotolight is not discontinuing their existing line. So if you have an AOS2 or Neo 3, it's not being discontinued. This isn't a replacement. It's an additional level of lighting. It's for the people who don't want to use a manual trigger. And if you do want to use a manual trigger, and then you're going to love what you currently have. If you don't want to mess with manual, receivers and hooking them up to your light, then you're going to want something from the Pro lineup. The recent announcement that I just made, not recent, just I made it 5 minutes ago, but the announcement that I just made is the one thing that's very enticing, in my opinion, for existing Rotolight users to buy at least one Pro light. Because if you buy at least one, now you can trigger all of your other lights with just one. So if you use one Pro light, now it'll trigger all of the others. The one Pro light will act as a master, and the other Rotolights will act as a slave. That's really, really cool. So I hope that helps. Again, I didn't want to make this a big sales pitch. I wanted to talk to you about my experience with the gear and take it from there. So I have lots of videos coming out. Again, my role in this campaign is to really provide information and content, and I'm very excited to be part of it. I'm very excited that that Rotolight is continuing to innovate. And for all the photographers out there, guys, I know it's tough. It's tough. You buy stuff and you're like, oh my gosh, they got new stuff. But the way that I kind of look at it is this: would you rather have a company that innovates quickly or never innovates? The companies that or innovates very slowly. I mean, I'm not trying to talk bad about anybody, but I mean that's kind of what happened with mirrorless photography or cameras. I mean, Sony was innovating so quickly, and Canon and Nikon lagged behind. Now Canon and Nikon have caught up. We all know that story, but that's what happens when you don't innovate quickly. And so I think that that's the big, appeal to photographers out there is we want two things. I just thought about it. We really want two things. We want companies that innovate quickly, but don't forget the ones who purchased and made those companies able to innovate. Because we don't want to pay all this money to these companies and then they innovate and forget about us. And then, okay, now you can buy something new. So that's why, even since the launch, I've had discussions with Rod about this. I said, hey, we've got to really try to find a way to incorporate existing users into this whole big thing that's coming out, this Pro line. And so I really am excited about the master slave compatibility and being able to do that. So I'm getting a lot of questions from people out there. Should I get a Pro light? And I think this makes it even easier to say yes, because of the fact that it's integrating and incorporating all of your lights together. To me, that's very exciting. I honestly wish I could have spoke about that at the launch, but I will have a video coming out about that next week. But I wanted to make sure that I mentioned it right now with all of you. So at any rate, I am going to open it up to questions. I will answer anything. You guys know the way I am. There's going to be no BS. I'll answer any questions you have. I'll give you my straight up approach because I never, ever want someone to get their hands on something that I talk about and say, that was bull crap. I always want to be able to I always want to make sure that I give you guys the straight up truth. So with that being said, I'm going to stop sharing my screen. And I am going to stop sharing my screen, and I am going to go here and open it up to any and all questions that you guys have. And now I will enable you guys. Let me see here. Let me go here and try to unmute you guys. All right, you guys can now unmute yourselves. So what questions do you have?
I don't know how you want to do this. I'm just raising my hand.
Is that you, Kiri?
That's me. What's up?
Oh, man, Kiri and I have traveled through New York and done some crazy stuff together. What's up, my man? What's your question?
So if I'm correct, from what I'm understanding, the Neo 3, the first one that came out, there's really not that much of a difference other than you can use a Godox trigger with the Pro line. right?
You can still use a Godox trigger with your Neo 3. You just have to use a manual receiver, like I spoke about in the
Yeah,
presentation.
yeah. So what I do with my Godox lights and Rotolight lights, I use them both together. I put one transmitter on top of the other on top of the camera, and it fires everything. So,
Yeah.
but the question is, the Neo 3, as far as the brightness, a friend of mine and I will go back and forth on this. The Neo 3 compared to the AD200 or the AD300 or the AD400, is the Neo 3 brighter? I've seen it with you in New York from the last shoot that you did in New York.
Right.
But and I know I know the Neo 3 would be, if not brighter than AD200 all day long. But where does it compare to the 300 or the 400? Because I know I think you have the 6 or the 4. Where is it compared? Is it brighter? Is it what?
The Neo 3? No, it is not brighter than 8400. No.
Is it compatible? Would you say it's almost the same as the 300?
Well, again, Kiri, you've heard me speak about this, but other people may not have, so I'll address it here. Please understand that when we talk about power and light, we have to talk about usable light. When you look at an 8200, 8400, those lights cannot be used bare bulb, whereas you can with the Rotolight. Right? For example, I'm being lit right now by the EOS 2 Pro, and I'm at, what am I at? 15%, 12%, and so you can't do that with those kinds of lights. So what I really should do is take out the Godox lights and put all of the diffusion on them to make it usable light, and then run some light meter tests and compare it to Rotolight to help you guys out. But I think
I'm asking the question because I'm torn between, do I get a Neo 3 as the first one? I have the original Neo 2s, I think my flashlight and my phone's brighter, but do I get a Neo 3 or do I get the EOS 2? So I'm kind of torn. I mean, obviously with me, budget is everything right now, but I'm like, what would you suggest? I mean,
I would get an EOS 2. I'm
right?
always gonna choose something with more power.
Well, yeah, we know that. But your Neo 3 in New York did beautiful.
Yeah,
I mean,
it
those
does.
shots of Sophia are amazing.
Thank you. It is. The Neo 3 is an amazing light. You just have to choose what works best for you. But I mean, you said, should I get a Neo 3 or an EOS 2? I mean, if you really have the option of choosing between one or another, I would get the EOS 2.
Okay. I'll let someone else ask. Thank you.
All right. Thanks, Kira. I appreciate you. Who's next?
Jason, I had a quick question.
What's up, Steve?
Hey, buddy, how you doing?
Good, brother.
Hey, so, I have a bunch of Rotolights.
Yeah, I think you have the most in the world except for me and Rotolight headquarters.
So I bought the EOS 2, so they could all talk to each other, but is that going to be released soon? Or I think it's Q4 when it's gonna. I wasn't sure if that was an app or when the lights could all talk to each other.
That's a great question. I need to get an update from Rotolight on that. I don't know if Rod's on here, but I mean, that's a great question. And that's something that we should have answered. But yeah, I think because what you're talking about is exactly in line with what we're speaking about with the Pro Version Lights. I've been told that I'm going to receive an update, a firmware update for me to be able to test this next week. So if that's happening, then I'm making some assumptions here, but I should be able to do that. And so hopefully we'll be able to get that done.
Because I know the Q4, the app, they're supposed to all communicate, but then if you wanted to use the lights, to use one as a slave. And then if we get a Pro one and the Godox talks to it, is it going to be on release date or is it going to be in a different quarter? Just so we're all prepared for it.
That's another good question. I would imagine, I mean, again, this is my assumption, but I would imagine that since I'll be using it next week, it's not technology that is being developed, it's technology that's completed. And so that being the case, I would imagine that would be available on all the lights once they are delivered, once they start shipping next year.
Awesome, thank you. One more, last question.
Yeah.
The Godox color temperature, is it 4600?
I'm not sure what that is.
So
I don't
that,
like the specs of the Godox too much, but
that we could just fire them all at the same colors, so it doesn't
yeah.
get.
Yeah, I mean,
confused.
that's another thing I can get answered for you. I mean, I got to look at that. I believe it is, but I mean, if you look at the shots that I'm playing with, to me, it's pretty amazing how the lights work seamlessly together. And it's funny. The other reason I've been shooting a lot with the Godox and the Rotolights is because people always say, how do I marry these? Because people have a hard time. Some people have a hard time doing that. And so I'm trying to do my best to show people how to get it done.
Perfect. All right, thank you so much.
You're welcome.
Hey, Jason,
Yeah.
I think that the Neo 3, I believe it's brighter than the original EOS. Has that been your experience?
Yeah, I'd say so.
Yeah, because I bought a 2-pack of the EOS before the 2s and 3s came out. So I think I may sell those and buy 2 of these Neo 3 Pros.
Yeah. They're quite a bit big. What kind of work do you do, Dave?
Portrait,
Yeah, I mean, do you do indoor, outdoor?
both. But I have a studio, so I'm in Indiana and it depends on the weather, but I do both. But I've used a single Neo 3 to do a senior photo shoot on
Oh, very cool.
on a cloudy day. So
Yeah. Again, if you're the kind of person who uses a lot of two, 3 light setups, then you would want to go with 2 Neo 3s. If you don't need to have a lot of, if you're primarily somebody who wants a stronger key light, then you'd go for an EOS 2. But yeah, I mean that's why
yeah, right now I have 2 Neo 3s and
Oh, okay.
the 2 light original EOS.
Okay.
I'm thinking of replacing those 2 EOS with a couple of Neo 3s.
Well, to be honest, if I were you, you said you already have Neo 3s?
I've got 2 Neo 3s, yes.
Yeah, if you have 2 Neo 3s, I would actually sell your EOS 1s and get either an EOS 2 or an EOS 2 Pro. That would be a better move in my opinion.
Okay. All right. Thank
Oh.
you.
Forget it. I was going to ask again with the EOS 2 Pro or the EOS 2, again, compared to the AD300 or the AD400, but you answered that before. It's how it's going to be used.
That's right.
I'm using the ADs as some kind of a benchmark because I know what the power it can, the power it puts out.
Right.
I have, did you bring your, no, yeah, I think you had the EOS 2 with you, but I don't think you used it. So I'm kind of, actually, I need to see that in person. I need to see that. Looks like I'm making a trip to B&H or something soon.
Yeah, make a trip. Well, the EOS 2, you're going to have to find it at Adorama, but yeah, take a look.
Rama.
Who's next?
Can I bounce in?
Bounce in. What's up, Catherine?
Hey.
How are you,
hey
honey?
there. I know, long time no chat.
Right.
It's all good up here in Maine. Just bouncing over to the presets.
Yeah.
That's something I would probably just play with for fun. There's always, learning, growing, no matter what our style is. As far as the format, Lightroom, Photoshop, Capture One, what direction are we going here?
For editing purposes, right now I'm using, like all the pictures I just showed you. I pull all of them in through Lightroom. I then if I have to do any frequency separation or any fine tuning on skin, then I do that in Photoshop. But then the toning and the finished product look comes from actually using Luminar AI.
Wow.
Okay.
Yeah. Luminar's trying to sponsor me, so I'm trying to see. I've been using Luminar for like a year and a half, but
You like it? Obviously, I mean.
Yeah, obviously. But yeah, no, it's good stuff, dude. So that's actually my, my workflow. And there's many people on here. Steve's one of them who are on my Patreon channel and they watch me edit live. They'll tell you I've been using Luminar for a while.
As far as the master presets with Rotolight.
Well, the master presets, well, okay, maybe I misunderstood your question. In regards to the presets, I mean, are you talking about how, because didn't you say Lightroom or did I misunderstand you?
No, I was confused. I wasn't sure if they were preset for the lighting or preset for the editing.
Great question, my bad. The presets are for the lighting. And so you can go
Thank
in, you can, yeah, my bad, sorry. You're like, Jason, you're going off on this stupid stuff.
It's all good.
The presets are for the lighting. And so in other words, you go on and you just click a button and it tells you exactly what I use, what other masters of light use, and or it just has the presets for certain, you know, colors or temperatures, or just to make it much faster to use.
Thank you.
You're welcome. Good seeing you again. Who's next?
Jason,
Yes.
I get kind of confused by everybody getting so upset about the new versions coming out so fast, because in general, what I'm seeing is that we've got an incremental improvement to the lights. They're a little more rugged. They have a few more features by way of the presets, but we can add those back into our old lights. And the only real improvement appears to be maybe a third to a stop or less of light and continuous mode. I love the metal knobs. I love the look of the lights. So I don't see it as a huge change. What I can understand is the integration, but many of us have already done that in the past manually. So
Right.
what I look at it is, if you're coming in new, go for the Pro. It sort of makes life easier for you integrating your existing equipment. If you're already there, there's nothing wrong with the older lights.
No, and you're right. And so I've always made a pledge to myself and to my followers to always keep your thoughts and to never forget, you know, where I started. And I do understand when people get upset when new gear comes out. It doesn't matter for Rotolight first or for someone else. I mean, let's be real. It's like it's expensive. Gear's expensive, and so you want to make sure that your investment wasn't for naught. That being said, I think that's why I'm doing my best to help people understand how to use what they currently have, and to make sure people understand that what they currently have is still incredible, while also showing people, hey, here's an upgrade option on the previous lights that were released. But it doesn't mean that your current lights don't kick ass. They do. It just gives you a little bit more of a kick-ass light. But I mean, the lights that we just got done over the last year showing you guys and marketing and touring, and those lights still kick ass. So nobody wasted any money. Your lights are still amazing.
Exactly. And I think when the app gets its upgrade in the fourth quarter, and we can back integrate some of our older lights, it'll even be better.
Yeah, there's just more and more innovation coming, and I'm excited about it. Again, I'd rather forget about being sponsored by Rotolight. I'd rather use gear that innovates quickly versus gear that doesn't innovate quickly at all. So that's where I'm at on it.
I agree. I mean, I can't name another company that during the course of the pandemic did what Rod Damage did with Rotolight. I mean, he basically kicked butt during the course of the pandemic when everybody else was pretty much sitting still.
We worked very hard. It was a team effort. We worked very hard. It wasn't easy, but we're glad we made it through it. So thank you.
Thank you.
All right, who's next? Are you trying to talk to me, Mitch?
I'd like to, if I could.
Hit me, baby.
Well, first of all, thank you so very much for all of the great video and information you provide. Let me give a special shout out to the gentleman that was on before me, Mr. Atwell. He is a very wonderful member of our Rotolight group and very helpful. Can I just ask you something? just a tad off topic, but I have just a quick question also. I already own the Neo 3. I have an EOS 1, and I just recently purchased the Titan X1.
Right.
Now, it looks, the information that I'm getting from YouTube and from, your videos and some of the people like Robert is that, it's a grand light, and there's no question in my mind that that will be the case. I'm just wondering for outdoor location use, and again, I'm not talking about fighting the sun in midday, and I'm talking about using some subdued lighting. What do you think as far as comparison of flash and continuous light output between the EOS 1 and this Titan X1 will be for myself?
Well, the Titan X1 is exponentially brighter than the EOS 1. Now, if you compare the Titan X1 versus the EOS 2, that's a different ballgame. But versus the EOS 1, yeah, you're going to notice a significant increase in power. And the other thing that I've always loved about the Titan line of lights is the fact I love the built-in smart diffusion. It's beautiful. I love it. And I'm excited to use it with the EOS lineup of lights as well, because I absolutely love it.
Yeah, I think that's what kind of pushed me into the light, that smart diffusion, because if I bought the EOS 2, then I would have spent the money for the other diffuser, the electronic diffuser that came out also.
Right.
How about as far as catch light goes? Because I know that you use both lights for your photography still work also. And what do you think about the difference in the catch light as being square compared to round? Any advantage one way or another in your mind?
That's just a personal preference, to be honest. I mean, we can all talk about which one is better, but you're the creator. You look at your shots, you decide what you like is better. That's just the honest truth. Because some people will argue, I've always loved round catch light because it mimics, the shape of the eye. But then people will talk all the live long day about how a square or rectangular light will mimic window light. So at the end of the day, it really depends on what you like. Find the right catch light that works for you.
Okay. Well, listen, I wanted just to thank you again for all of the help that you've given all of us. And I've been to your seminar that you had in Miami. It was fantastic. I have pictures that my friends are still going crazy about, even though it was a couple months ago. So thank you again for your help. I appreciate that.
Hey, thanks for your support. I love you and I appreciate you guys. Thank you. Looks like you got a call. Okay. That's too funny. What else, guys? What other questions do you have? And ladies, I see we have some lovely ladies on here as well. What other questions do you have? If there's no further questions, I will wrap her up. Oh, Paul, you ready to go?
Yeah, Rod, I'm in the UK. Although I've learned a lot from some of the other masters of light, I must admit that the vast majority of my knowledge of late with Rotolight has come from you. So I thank you for that.
Well, thank
you.
And
when are you coming back to the UK? I
knew that was coming. I knew it. I'll be coming next year. It's been too long since I've been there. Obviously, I was there a year ago with the last Rotolight campaign, but I plan on coming back there just on my own. Next year, to answer your question. It's been too long since I've done any workshops there. I haven't done a workshop in the UK for many years, obviously because of COVID, but I haven't done one in the UK for many years. And so I know that there's a big appetite from you guys out there, and I'm going to come and feed you.
Definitely what we want. Thank you very much.
Thank you, brother. I appreciate you.
When is New York, New Jersey going to see you again?
Dude, I was there like 3 months ago.
Too long.
It'll be a couple months. It'll be next year. It'll be next year. Has to warm up.
Okay.
What's up, Henry?
Quick question. I'm trying to buy the 3-light Neo 3 setup, but I go through your offers but when it goes to B&H or Adorama, it doesn't give me the space to put in your coupon.
Yeah, that's honestly been one of the biggest struggles with doing it that way, to be honest. That's a Rotolight question, and I'm not trying to pawn you off. I have no clue as to why that happens, but I've been receiving that feedback a bit over the last number of months. So you're not able to use the promo code is what you're saying, right?
Well, I go through your Rotolight offers, then it dumps me back to B&H.
Right.
I ordered through B&H, but it doesn't give me a space to put in your coupon to get the extra 15% off.
Have you called B&H?
Yeah, they're about as useful as tits on a board.
Well, I've never heard of that one before, but well, then you know what? I'll reach out to Rotolight. Send Rotolight a message and copy me on it, and we'll see what's up. But that I really like that's a logistical thing between B&H and Rotolight. I don't have any involvement in that, to be candid, but I want to make sure that we help you at the same time. So send me an email, jason@jlpros.com, and send an email to sales@rotolight.com, and we'll get it done.
Yeah, I'm just trying to save as much money as possible.
Of course.
Also, I wanted to say thank you for all the nuggets of information that you've given me.
You're welcome.
Photography has improved 1,000-fold.
Well, thank you. You can send royalty checks to me.
Okay, we'll do that. Thank you.
Oh, brother, take care.
Take care.
Jason, real quick. When do the presets come out to update?
The presets of the new presets?
The new presets, because I know I could buy the new presets to update my previous stuff.
That's a great question. I don't have the answer for that. I haven't asked Rotolight when they want to come out because I only have them on the Pro Version Lights they sent me. But that's a great question. I know Rotolight's going to listen to this and they'll give us an answer, but I don't know is unfortunately the answer.
Cool.
Who's next? Who's next up on the hotline? Tom from Rotolight says it'll be January. Regards to the preset question. What other questions do you have?
Jason, I had one more question.
Hit me, baby boy.
For the Neo 3, is there like a sweet spot to keep the fan off? Like 80%?
Don't go over 80 if you don't want that fan.
Okay.
Don't go over 80, and that fan is vital. So if you go over 80, that fan has to kick on to keep the lights cooler, or they will not stay cool. And you definitely want your lights to stay cool. And that's not just a Rotolight thing. When I use Stella, they're the same thing. When I would go up on the light, anything from a higher power consumption over like 50-60% on the Stella, the fan would kick on. So that's what I would do. But again, I don't know. The way that I always look at things, and I've always used Rotolight this way, if I ever have to go at 100% power on continuous, then I'm just going to strobe it, unless you're doing video work. But if you're a photographer, if I'm doing, any sort of work that I need lighting, and unless I'm doing, again, video work, if I'm doing just stills, I'm always going to kick it into flash versus continuous, because the flash conserves my battery. Many people don't appreciate that as much as I think it should be spoken about. Is once you put these lights into flash mode and you take them off the continuous. So for just a little tip out there, guys, when you're using these lights, don't just put it in flash mode and assume that's going to conserve power. Make sure that your modeling lamp on the light is turned down as well. So that will conserve power on the Rotolights like crazy. So I hope that helps.
It does. Thank you.
You're welcome, my man.
One quick other question, Jason. I'm sorry.
You're my sexy man from you're from San Francisco, right?
From the Bay Area. Yeah, what's up?
Where's your green beard, dude?
It's I cut it. So I got a diet.
You're my lucky charm. All right. So what's your question?
So your recycle time is going to be different when you're shooting with your Godox
Yep.
and your roto, right?
Yep.
Okay.
Yep. What I would really recommend to optimize results is to put your Godox at about 1/64th to 1/32nd of a power, and that's going to improve the recycle time to where you're not having as many missed shots. So a shoot that I did with Alyssa earlier this week or last week, whenever it was in the launch video. I actually have some shots, and it's kind of cool because the shots where the Godox didn't fire, you still have the Rotolights firing. And so you have this, it's a beautiful silhouette of her. And with just the purple and the blue, or the pink and the blue behind her. And she's silhouetted because the Godox didn't fire. It's actually kind of a cool shot, but yeah, no doubt. The recycle time on the Godox, yeah, they have their technology.
Yep. Thank you.
You're welcome. What other questions do you guys have? And ladies. Hey, Chris Deckert, did I answer your question, brother? All right, cool.
Jason,
Yes.
quick question. Have you played with the soft diffusion yet?
No, I haven't. No. So that's something that I really want. And I know that Rotolight wants to get it to me, but they haven't sent it to me yet. They tried it. I don't even want to get into it, but bottom line is that I am getting the soft diffusion. Well, I mean, yes, I have on the Titan line of lights, but I haven't played with the one for the AOS 2. But as part of this campaign, one of the goals is to get me that new smart diffuser so I can do a video on it in November.
Okay, because I ordered they had a package up as part of the new campaign that has an R90 and the soft diffuser added in together at a great price. So I figured that was a good way for me, who has the old gold pack from the last campaign, the Kickstarter campaign, to basically improve what I've got.
That's awesome. And I think that's a great point, is that, you know, there are deals in there for those who bought from the last campaign to enhance what they bought. It's not just, you know, there's a lot of accessory stuff in there. So I think that that's great, dude.
And with the power and stuff not being any really different on flash, which is what I do an awful lot of times, and that's what I really want to soften when I'm maxing that light out.
Right.
That I figured that was one of the best ways to do it. And then the 90 being a parabolic sort of does just the opposite. It focuses that light a little bit more and basically gets me a little more punch.
Yep.
So between those two, I saw when you were here in Washington and you used that 90, I was really impressed with that. It's sort of
the R90, and even if you guys look at the videos and stuff I've been putting out, that's all that I've even been putting on my Godox. So I mean, that if I were looking at this scenario, I see Rotolight coming for these other companies. And so if I was these other companies, I'd be watching, because I mean, they're coming for them by them. They're making it by them muddying the waters, if you will, and coming into their territory. It's makes it an interesting proposition for these other companies, because I don't think these other companies are going to find ways to strobe a Rotolight. I don't think that's going to happen. And so I think it's really smart what they're doing, just from a competitive standpoint.
Well, thanks. And I'll look forward to seeing the video on soft diffusion.
Yeah, I look forward to getting it and playing with it myself. So I'm sure Rotolight will send it to me as soon as they can.
Okay.
What other questions do you beautiful people have?
Hi, Jason.
Hi.
You remember me?
Of course. How can I forget you?
Yeah, this is me. Since no questions, I just want to say hi. And I want to say, like, I really appreciate the last time. Remember, like, we had this, like Sunday before this one, we had this workshop.
Yep.
So I just want to say hi. Remember, I told you, like, I'm
I knew,
working.
yeah, you were with me in Indianapolis. We had a great time.
Yeah, yeah. So I'm inside the track. Whenever I have time, I just start editing pictures and then following, chasing you everywhere.
Well, I appreciate that. I love your money. I love your support.
Yeah,
you know I love you,
that says
dude.
everything. You start with the money. That says everything.
Hey, with money, there's no honey. But
True.
no, man,
Yeah.
we had a great time in Indianapolis. And speaking of that, I'm going to be doing 2 events coming up here tomorrow, actually, in St. Louis, and in then after that it's Nashville. So we have some great people coming. I'm excited about it. But I really thank you for coming. We had a great time.
Yeah, thank you so much.
We got chased out by security, so you know it was one of my events.
Yeah. Well, it was good. It was perfect.
It was a lot of fun. Yeah, thank you, brother.
Well, thank you so much. Take care.
You're welcome. Oh, he got to see the new lights too. Yeah, anybody who comes to these events are seeing the new lights, so he got to see them, and that was a lot of fun. All right, guys. Any other questions, comments, concerns? Any requests for videos that you'd like me to do? I'm going to let this go on for about 30 seconds if I don't hear from everybody else. Oh, my bad. Yeah, thanks, Rod. My bad. I'm going to be doing, by the way, thank you. I slip of my memory there. I am going to be doing an event in Los Angeles. So if you're in Los Angeles and you want to come play with me, I'm going to be doing an event with Rotolight on November. It's on my
November 6th.
Yeah, November 6th, right?
Yeah.
Are you coming to that, dude?
Yes, I plan on coming to that.
All right. You're coming all the way from San Francisco. I love it.
Yep.
But yeah, join me in Los Angeles, November 6th, guys. And then in Toronto, yeah, and it's free of charge. Rotolight's paying the bill on this. So you guys come on down. It's free. All you got to do is go to jasonlinear.com/register, and all of the links are there. And then I'm doing Toronto because everybody's going to be up there for Profusion. I'm doing Toronto 2 days later on the 8th. So yeah, make sure to join me on those dates. Then we have voting day on the 7th, I think it is. and then, but yeah, I'd love to see all of you there. That'd be great.
Jason, one more question, buddy.
Yeah, brother, go for it.
Is the material in the R90 and the Westcott different?
Is the R90 material different than like the Westcott XXL, you mean?
Yeah.
You know, I've always been a big fan of the Westcott modifiers, and I still am. But I will say, I think the R90 is just tougher. It just is. One thing about the Westcott that has happened over the years is the Westcott is easier to set up. There's just it's hands down, the Westcott's easier to set up by design. It's like an umbrella. You push it open, pop it open. With the R90 and modifiers like that, you have to pull each rod out and then it folds up. It's not the end of the world, but the Westcott is easier to set up. But I mention that because it's easier to set up, not if, but when that modifier falls like they do on me. I have it's happened more often than not that I break and bend some of the inner workings of the metal rods that are inside of the Westcott, because it is built more like an umbrella from an internal standpoint. So it does break easier. So just yesterday we were filming, the wind really picked up here in St. Louis. The R90 fell over with the Godox on it, so it was heavy. Picked it up and it wasn't any worse for the wear. So now from the cloth material, I'd say that the R90 material is thicker than the Westcott. So I think, I'm not going to sit here and pretend that the Westcott isn't good stuff, but is the R90 better? Yeah, it is.
Got it. Okay. Thank you.
Yep. Would love a video using Rotolights to light larger groups, approximately 20 people indoors, says Paul Hancock. Yeah, it's interesting, Paul. If I made a video using the AOS 2 at a wedding, and I put that up on YouTube. That was about, I don't know, 3-4 months ago. And I flashed the AOS 2, and it was about 20 people, the size of the wedding party. And that was outdoors. So that would be something to take a look at as well. Chris was there with me, helped me, yeah. Kevin says, did I miss the information for people who own the Neo 3 already? Maybe you did, but just to reiterate, and I'll be quick, but if you own the Neo 3 already or the AOS 2 already, if you get a Pro Version line of lights, Rotolight is now making it possible for those lights to communicate. So you'd use the Pro Version light as a master light, and then you'd use any of your existing Rotolight gear from 2017 or newer as a slave. And so it would enable you to be able to strobe those other lights just from one transmitter, which is pretty freaking awesome. So, and then really what you could do is, that would be really cool, because what you could do then is use your strobe, or excuse me, use the Rotolight app, and then you could just change all the different lights, colors, power. That'd be really cool. Then you can do all of that just right from your app. So you wouldn't even need to really have another transmitter if you're keeping it real. So that'd be kind of cool. What other questions do you guys have? But is there maybe some kind of a trade up program for the Rotolights? I don't think there's a trade up program now, but I do believe that what they're trying to do is, if you're an existing Rotolight user and you have a Pro Version light, I think, I could be wrong, Rotolight, please correct me if I'm wrong on this, but I believe that they're coming out with something where the Rotolight, and I think Rod just wrote it, so you can now buy one Rotolight Neo 3 Pro or AOS 2, use the Godox transmitter, and we'll slave every time, yes. But on top of that, I think if you are an existing Rotolight owner, AOS 2, Neo 3, and you buy Pro Version light, they're also giving you the presets for free. I think that's another thing that they're doing as well. So what other questions do you guys have? All righty. Well, I love you all very much. I have to go traverse through some very dangerous neighborhoods and do some fun shots, because that's what I like to do for some crazy reason. And I love St. Louis. I mean, it's crazy here. It is crazy, but it's my kind of crazy. So at any rate, I'm very grateful to all of you. Please let me know your feedback, post your comments. I told you in the launch video that I would be listening to your comments and I would be reading them and replying to them, and I most certainly am. So make sure to continue to do that. Make sure to continue to write. Your comments are not in vain. We are listening, and your concerns, complaints, whatever they may be, are very important to us. And believe me, I'm very grateful that I have a voice within the Rotolight family, and they listen. And I'm grateful for that. So you gotta work with people, and you gotta buy gear from people who listen. And I think that that's the most important thing out there. People don't listen to you, then that's when relationships fail. So I'm grateful that they're listening to all of us. So until next time, my lovely friends, keep shooting, never give up on your dreams. Find a gear that works for you. And remember, I looked up to the light. Isn't that funny? So until next time, keep shooting, never give up on your dreams. Find a gear that works for you. And remember, you only have one chance to get it right. I'll talk to you guys later. Bye.